Kansas City 25, San Francisco 22, the final in the second ever Super Bowl that went into overtime. The Chiefs back-to-back. They don't have a dynasty yet, 3 and 4 years. They missed the Super Bowl 55 and 56, but next year they'll have the opportunity for the first ever three-peat. The football nation outside of Arrowhead is very upset at this outcome, and the Swifties I guess too, but who cares about them, right? But let's go ahead and hop right into breaking this down quarter by quarter, starting off with the first quarter. So sorry to interrupt really quickly. If I could ask you to please consider subscribing to this channel, because I put a lot of work into these videos, and leaving a like and commenting down below your thoughts on my points here. I'd really appreciate that, and let's get right back into it. 0-0. However, this should not have been the score. Usually when it's 0-0, you think, oh, it was just a defensive game. Offense couldn't really do much. No, McCaffrey fumbled the ball at the Kansas City 27-yard line. And for those of you who watched the game, we're going to get into this fumble, the Pacheco fumble. But either one of these fumbles don't happen, the game really could have ended in regulation. But the McCaffrey fumbled the ball at the 27-yard line, and if they don't do that, they get at least a field goal, maybe even a touchdown, and this game went into overtime, right? It was 19-19. So really, this is such a game-changing moment. Even though it was only in the first quarter, it was still absolutely massive, and it definitely had a big impact on the game. Other than that, though, there's not really much to say about the first quarter. It was a very defensive quarter. No team really could get anything going. If you want to look at the drives in the first quarter, it was a fumble and then a bunch of punts. Fumble, 3 punts, and then the Niners put something together and started to go for ended up getting a field goal on that drive in the second quarter. Speaking of which, first drive in the second quarter, Niners got that field goal, and then it was 3-10 when it was all said and done at halftime. But Pacheco had a fumble, a monumental fumble at, the San Francisco 8-yard line. The Niners couldn't capitalize on it, but it did lead to them getting the Chiefs getting worse field position, and they had to punt on the drive when they got the ball back after the Niners had to punt. This half really was very well summed up by that fumble for the Chiefs. It was mistake-ridden, and at halftime they had to put it behind them and come back down 7 and see what they could do. In the third quarter, they did something. This quarter was the turning point in the game. Absolutely the turning point. And San Francisco refused to run the ball. Some stats. In the third quarter, they started off with 3 straight 3-and-out drives. 3 plays and they punted the ball. They did that 3 drives in a row. So that's 9 plays on 3 drives, and 8 of those 9 plays were pass plays. 8 of them. They had 2 straight drives, 2 opening drives to start the third quarter. They passed it 3 times and it was incomplete every time. Not incomplete, but they didn't get enough yards. And it was just horrible. In the whole entire third quarter, Christian McCaffrey had 2 carries for 5 yards. You can't have Christian McCaffrey give him 2 carries for 5 yards. Tony Romo and Jim Nantz will hit the nail on the head with this one. Kyle Shanahan had to take the pressure off Brock Purdy, because you have 2 sides. You have Brock Purdy, who's in his second year in the league, and you have Christian McCaffrey, who's a seasoned veteran. You're in the Super Bowl. McCaffrey, I think he was on was he on the Super Bowl 50 team for Carolina? I don't remember. I'm not that good. But McCaffrey is the seasoned veteran. He is the one you can rely on. Yeah, he had the fumble that was all the way in the first quarter. McCaffrey was the one who needed to be getting the ball, especially in this pivotal third quarter. You had the lead. When you have the lead against the Chiefs, you don't throw a bunch of incompletions to give them more time. You don't go ultra conservative, especially when you have Christian McCaffrey. You gotta run the ball. You gotta take the pressure off your second-year quarterback. And they couldn't do that in the third quarter, and that is why they lost the game. The refusal to run the ball in the third quarter is why they lost the game, in my opinion. In the fourth quarter, 19-19, the biggest moment refusing to run the ball on those 3 drives is the biggest decision, but if there's any moment in the game that was the biggest, it was Chris Jones when he came in and hit Brock Purdy on a 3rd and 5. It was 3rd down and 5. Where were they exactly? They were in they were in the red zone. They were in the red zone. They were not in the red zone. Sorry, they were on the KC 35. and they had a chance to get a first down, which if they were able to, they could start to drain the clock, kick a field goal to take the lead, and Mahomes would have the ball with maybe like a minute to Mahomes have the ball with like a minute to go and no timeouts. Now, that's Mahomes. That's doable for him, of course. We know Patrick Mahomes, but it was 16-16 and 3rd down and 5. They get a first down. Actually, no, Mahomes would have like 20 seconds. My bad, I did the math wrong. Mahomes would have had 20 seconds, no timeouts. He can do it, we know. But that's much more difficult than what he ended up getting. And Juwan Jennings broke away, and he was open, but Chris Jones hit Purdy as he threw, and he couldn't complete the pass. That would have set them up for the Super Bowl winning kick, as I said a moment ago. But it was incomplete, 4th and 5. They kicked the field goal. The Chiefs got the ball back with 1:50. Easily got a field goal out of that. They almost scored, too, but they did. They ended up settling for a field goal, and Brock Purdy knelt the game into overtime there. On to overtime, and San Francisco, after all the mistakes they made, right, all the near misses, all the near makes, they had a chance. They won the toss, and instead of giving themselves the knowledge of what to do on a 4th down, they took the ball. Instead of giving themselves the knowledge of knowing what the Chiefs did and putting the pressure onto them, they took the ball and put the pressure on themselves. Now, that partially could have been my defense is tired, right? But either way, you don't do that. These new overtime rules in the playoffs set you up for a situation where if you're a team with a high-powered offense, what you do is you kick the ball off to the other team. In this situation, okay, maybe not necessarily if you're a high-powered offense. That would help, but it depends on who you're playing. If you're playing Mahomes, right? If he needs to go down and score and he doesn't have time constraints, he's probably going to do it, right? Chances are, especially in the Super Bowl, you're facing that guy. So what do? Here's what you do. You give the Chiefs the ball. They go down, they get a touchdown. If they kick one, you go down, you get a touchdown, and you have Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. 5 players. 2 of them run the ball, 3 of them catch the ball. Nobody knows what you're going to do on a 2-point conversion. You could run it and you could throw it reasonably, right? But nope, they took the ball. What you do is you kick it off to the Chiefs, you let them go down, not literally let them go down and score, but if they go down and score, you get the ball back, you get a touchdown, you go for 2 to win it. Because if you can't give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes. You just can't. You can't do that. Because then if all Patrick Mahomes needs is a field goal, you can't give him that ball back. But what they did instead is they took the ball. They couldn't get they took the ball saying, we get a touchdown, they get a touchdown, we kick the field goal, and we win. They took the ball, but they couldn't get a touchdown. They could only muster up a field goal. They kicked the field goal, 22, and the Chiefs got the ball, and honestly, I would have gone for it. If I was the Niners, I would have gone for it. Because when Mahomes needs a touchdown in the biggest moment, he's going to get it. I know trusting your defense, you got to have confidence in your team, but I would have gone for it. You got to go for it there. Patrick Mahomes is on the other side of the ball. And that's what they did, is they got the field goal, and the Chiefs went down, they got a touchdown, and the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Now, let's take a look at my keys to the game here that I had. For the Chiefs, my 3 things were the wide receivers show up. They need to keep the San Francisco offense slow, and they need to take long drives. The Chiefs didn't dominate time of possession, but they did a pretty good job. If they did better, I think they would have won in regulation. But for the wide receivers to show up for the Chiefs, I said, and I quote, I think if the Chiefs wide receivers show up, it will be very difficult for the other team to win. And they did that, because Mahomes is going to show up, and he did. And the wide receivers showed up, and they were able to dominate. Not dominate, but they were able to catch. And that's all they needed to do. When Mahomes gave them a chest pass, they were able to catch it. That was huge for them. To keep the San Francisco offense slow, I mentioned the Philly game, where we had the Niners get 6 back-to-back, and a bunch of other touchdowns, and they weren't able to do that today. They did not have a single back-to-back drive with 2 touchdowns, no back-to-back touchdowns. The Chiefs have a longer Super Bowl streak than the Niners do touchdown streaks in that entire game. That's kind of sad. They were not able to get any back-to-back touchdown drives, and they had 1 touchdown and then a field goal right after that. So that was the most they did. Like, they did not have 2 scoring drives back-to-back except for that 1 touchdown followed by a field goal. That was it. The Chiefs kept that offense very slow. And again, the third quarter, unwillingness to run it in the third quarter really killed them. It killed them. And for the Niners, I said they needed to have big plays. Their longest play was 24 yards. That was through the air to McCaffrey. And McCaffrey's longest run was 11 yards. They did not have explosive plays. Nothing over 25 yards. Like, that's not something you see from the 49ers when they win. You don't really see that much when they win. When it's against a good team like the Chiefs. And they Niners, I said they needed to stay two-dimensional. Like I've said, running the ball in the third quarter. They just didn't do that. When they went one-dimensional, they lost the game. That's what happened. And lastly, they needed to keep Kansas City one-dimensional. The Chiefs had 333 passing yards and 130 rushing yards, and like a lot of those coming from Mahomes. Those were all Mahomes damage. Like when Mahomes played a big part, and I think it was like 60 came from Mahomes. They were not able to keep the Chiefs one-dimensional at all. Like not in the slightest. 333 and 130 is like not even close to one-dimensional. But with all of that being said, here is one last look at the Super Bowl champions, KC Chiefs, and how they got there, starting in the divisional round. I mean, these playoffs were really fun, to say the least. I mean, I know I'm a Packers fan, so of course I enjoyed especially the first round, but just as a football fan, so many good games. Chiefs-Bills, always a classic. Both of the championship games were entertaining. Not if you're a Ravens fan, it wasn't, but or a Lions fan, but it was at least fun to watch your team have a lead. But with all that being said, that is it. That's it for the season. Now, I am going to be making off-season content, as always, but, well, not as always. Actually, I've been doing very good at that, but my goal is to do better at that this year, and I think I will. But thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, again, always please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you're excited for the off-season content, and let me know what you want to see, because I like anything. I like power rankings, I like predictions, right? Anything you want to see, I'd be glad to do it. Boom or bust. But if you watched my videos this season and you liked them, let me know. I really appreciate to hear that. And with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching this video and for watching the season. If you enjoyed the season, let me know. Comment your favorite part of the season. Why not? Let's have some fun here. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time on SNS.